adventures and getting them up to speed and expanding that program so that there's more of those, particularly in other countries.
Mhm.
And
Are you trying to tell me that Dungeons and Dragons is a global phenomenon?
I know, shocker, right? What? Yeah. So some of those countries have huge gaming communities, and they don't have a lot of support. So the idea is to get them that support and get them kind of up and running and be able to do that.
So let's delve a little bit deeper into Legends of Greyhawk. Yes.
You missed the beginning. So if you want to introduce again,
Oh,
just
stream thing didn't kick in?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's some sort of a delay that we're not aware of.
I just wasn't aware how to do it.
I
so
forget. I was Chet who? No.
yeah, just go with Bob.
Yep, Bob. I'm just Bob. Well, if you are watching us live, and I guess there is some sort of maybe a 30-second delay between us starting and with the stream beginning, this is Tony Winslow Brill. Winslow Park. I knew I was going to screw that up.
You got it. You got it. You're good.
I am Jeff McAleer from the Gaming Gang. We are here at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 3. It is day 2. So we have been chatting about, well, we focused on Dungeons and Dragons so far.
Yep.
We've been chatting a little bit about the Adventurers League. What we're really going to get into now is what really a lot of folks tuning in want to know about. And is Legends of Greyhawk. See, I'm not a legend. I'm just well known in Greyhawk.
You're legend in your own mind, right?
So, no, I don't really have that kind of ego.
oh, dig it.
Yeah, I know. So, the first thing I would ask is, what specifically is Legends of Greyhawk? Is this something that people can go into their local gaming store and play? Is it something that they can do online as game masters themselves? What exactly is it?
So it is a organized play program where you have a character or characters that you can travel and continue to use through different adventures in different areas with different themes. And right now the focus is on convention play for Legends of Greyhawk.
Okay.
Yep. But eventually you will be able to purchase those adventures and play them at home or in your game store or whatnot.
Because from my experience, some publishers, they will offer the organized play adventures to the public, and then others are like, well, no, it's you got to go to the store, you got to be at cons.
Yes.
So it's nice to know you're going to bring in
they
people who
should
can't make
yeah.
their way out to stores and cons.
Right. Right now the plan is for the conventions to have it for a certain amount of time, and then then they can go out to the public a little bit
of exclusivity.
Yeah. So just to have a little more fun with people and stuff, because people like that. They like going and being part of something cool.
And you can take your character if you happen to be traveling and you're like, oh well, I feel like playing a game of D&D, and oh hey, I got my character, and look, there's a retailer nearby me.
Yeah.
And they're having it.
Yeah.
You can pop on in, bring your character.
Yep, exactly. And there's a set of rules that you can download for both Adventures League and Legends of Greyhawk that will tell you here's how you do character creation, and here's the rules for certain things how many magic items and all that stuff, because you're not going to have one overarching DM. You're going to have multiple different get your microphone, different things. So it's going to be
well, I would think it's going to be very episodic.
It can be, yes. Most of the premier organizers like to do it as a trilogy.
Yeah.
So, because it's bite-sized pieces, but it's not just a random one-shot. So that doesn't mean that that's not going to be the case sometimes, but just that most of the time that they're kind of in groups of 3, or depending on what they're trying to plan, because they have to go through a process of here's my story, get it approved, get it. There's certain things that we have to make sure don't happen. And,
of course.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to have a
Oh
little
my God, wait a
oversight.
second, you've totally destroyed the whole
I know.
campaign world.
I know. Well,
So what conventions are planned for Legends of Greyhawk?
quite a few because we have multiple premiered organizers. I don't have a list off the top of my head. I should have brought it.
Okay, I'll take a wild guess. Gen Con?
Yes. Well, so different organizers will have different things, but yes, Gen Con.
Right, I would think.
Let's see, Gary Con, Gamehole Con here. There's a bunch here. It's right down that way, actually. You can walk by them. There is Con in Florida, MegaCon.
See, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, there's a bunch of them. So they're all over and then different.
See, it's a
the idea
quiz.
is to spread
It's a
out.
quiz, Tony. I'm marking off. See how many you got.
Uh-oh. That's trouble. There's Dragon Con, PAX Unplugged will have some. Like, basically, the bigger cons for sure will have it. And then the smaller cons can request. And then there's a process to go through that. They have to have a code of conduct,
Of course.
things like that. You can't have, here's your adventure, you can't have dicks on foreheads, that kind of things,
So you're not gonna be having this at the local biker bar.
I mean, you could if they were friendly and had a code of conduct, I guess. Bikers could be gamers. Nothing wrong with that.
Leave all weapons outside.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, as a player
Yes.
who wants to join in on the fun,
Yep.
do they create their characters at home and then bring them with, or do they have to create the character on site?
They can do either. There are games that are specifically labeled as intros, and those include time to make a character. Otherwise, you just get the little player's guide for thing, and it'll tell you they use the point buy system. So, know all 18s that you rolled at home. I know.
I actually had somebody one time show up at a game. This is years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, well, I made the character at home," and I'm like, "Dude, you did not roll 3 18s. I'm telling you right now. I know you didn't." "Oh yeah, I did." And
Yeah. Well,
so you got negative modifiers to a lot of.
yeah, I bet you did. How'd that happen? I actually am the person you don't want rolling because I will roll 3 18s in front of you. And then the DMs are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not fair."
Oh, I mean, as a game master, I'm like, "Oh, sweet, that gives me stuff to play with." But it was a shady character that stirred me.
Yeah, that happens.
And I'm not talking about the
sometimes.
player character being shady. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, folks?
Yeah, some people just want to win at D&D.
Right.
it's,
I know.
it's not really a game to win.
It's
I
like,
guess it is
"Oh,
win if you have fun.
the whole party got killed except me, and I got the treasure. Yay! Okay. All right.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, person.
So what else you got cooking, Tony?
Like you said, I wear a lot of hats.
Mm-hmm. I understand you're working on a lot of stuff that you can't talk about.
I do. I have a lot of NDAs, unfortunately, which kills me sometimes because I get
You want to
excited.
tell people,
Yeah, I'm
right?
like,
Yeah.
let me tell you about this.
Oh man,
cool
this is so
thing.
cool.
Yeah, like one of the projects I'm working on, right before here, they were like, "Hey, we really liked what you did. Can you do more?" And I was like, "Sure, I can write more. That was fun." But one of the things that I can't talk about that just happened is I was part of the writing team for MCDM's Crack the Sun.
Mhm.
So that just finished on Kickstarter.
It was a pretty big Kickstarter.
It was.
wasn't
I think it was almost 3 million, over 26 something. I don't even remember now.
Yeah.
So,
It
but
was-
it's big. It
it
was
was
a
a good
lot of
amount of
money.
money.
I was like,
Right.
holy buckets. So, and that was actually to see if people were interested in continuing that line.
Yeah.
So obviously they are.
Which is pretty weird because it's a new line.
Yeah. So, and I worked on the player's book and, when it first started. So then this
Okay.
is they're just testing. They want to make sure that they're producing things that people enjoy.
I will be completely honest.
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
That's
sadly.
okay. That's
I know
okay.
it's amazing as a reviewer. Everybody thinks that
You
I've
do
seen
everything?
every game, and it's like, no. I would like to. I would be interested in checking that out. But
It's a very cinematic sort of
I was just about
thing.
to ask, what do you think is the main differential between that and Dungeons and Dragons?
It uses its own rule system, so it is not like a 5e or
It's not an OGL.
It's not an OGL. And the idea is that every hero is actually a hero, and you can always do something. So depending on what you would like to do, so you usually succeed to some effect, or there's usually some, you get like, oh, I did this, but then I, fell off the roof or whatever, so there's always something, and it's different, but it's fun. It's kind of a little hard to explain just
Well,
talking about it.
So I'll give you a question then. So let's say your character's a wizard.
Yeah.
In lower level Dungeons and Dragons adventures, wizards tend to run out of spells except for their cantrips.
Yeah.
And then sometimes a wizard character at lower levels, something,
Yeah.
the action's worn on for a while, and then they feel like, well, I got really nothing left in my bag.
Yeah.
I can use my dagger poorly. Is that the same kind of situation with magic users as far as, gosh, I always get it wrong, MCDM? Is that
Yeah,
it?
draw steel.
Yeah. See, if you had said draw steel, that would have saved me. Because that's why I'm sitting there going, isn't it draw steel now?
Well,
Maybe
the company
I'm
is
wrong.
MCDM. So,
Yes. Okay.
no. So you can always do something.
That's when you said that.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted
You
to follow
can always
up on
do
that.
something. It is just how successful it is, and if there's any complications or
Right.
problems in doing it.
Right.
There are a few instances where there is failure, but most of the time the idea is that you can do something. It just might not work, or
Right.
it might not work to the extent you were hoping, or
Sure,
it
my
wasn't
life-
like some
Like
dramatic.
my life.
Yeah, well, that is how life
It's all
goes.
full of successes, but at what cost?
Yeah.
So you worked on the player's handbook.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
So what did you work on? What were there specific areas, or were you just kind
Yeah, no.
of
So
overall?
I did a bunch of little pieces parts, and not all of them. Some of them were for an adventure, those maybe get used later or whatever. But I did so in the new Practice Sun. I did all the skill stuff, the skill challenges, and new ways to use skills and that sort of thing. And then in the player's handbook, I ended up. It's what they call their inciting incidences, or your background, like why are you an adventurer? So I did those. So
And then the just completed Kickstarter. What kind of?
that's the one I did all the skill challenges and skills and
Oh,
stuff in.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So
when
that
you-
takes time, man. Whew.
When you're talking about the skill challenges, are we talking about like target number roll higher than, or like?
So unique ways to use the skills.
Okay.
So here's a different way, and
See,
here's
I was-
some examples,
Yeah, I
and
was-
then here's if they roll a, here's you want to jump into a whirlpool and swim to the bottom, and then you roll how successful it was or whatever,
Okay.
and then
So there's degrees of success.
correct,
Okay.
yes, and then then it breaks down okay, it was a poor success. Here's what happens. You start
Right.
to drown or whatever. And then here's a, moderate success. And here's a good success. And here's the perfect success kind of a thing. And then
Right.
what would happen and how that would work out. So
Perfect success. I swam to the bottom, and now they've made me king of the
yeah.
king of Atlantis.
Those are fun.
First success is well, you made it, but you lost half your
Yeah.
health.
You got down there, or you did a belly flop. So, you're bruised, whatever, just different stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
Sure. Like I said, I'm not overly familiar with draw steel. So
No,
and,
it
you
is.
know,
It's fun.
it's always
pretty
fun to be
play
on
too.
camera and display your ignorance. It's a
It's
beautiful thing, everybody.
Well, and I like learning new stuff too. So that was kind of a nice.
And I don't
to
mind
change.
asking.
Yes, please ask.
Hey, I want to, if you don't mind, Tony, you want to shift gears, go back to Legends of Greyhawk.
Yep.
Just for a moment.
Mhm.
Can you reveal what maybe the overall plot line might be that
So there are different plot lines in that with Legends of Greyhawk, they have decided somewhat to go back to regions, which they used for Living Greyhawk.
that was a
So
follow-up question. I think.
yeah. So in Living Greyhawk, each area of the world was assigned a corresponding area in the world of Greyhawk, and then they were supposed to write adventures in there. It is now more the preferred organizer, or the premier organizers get. It's not tied to where they're at. It's tied to what
Their
they've been
level,
assigned.
Right.
So like Baldwin Games gets like High Folk, and they get City of Greyhawk, that kind of thing, because they're the much larger premiered organized. It also depends on how large, uh, like MegaCon and all those. They get all the Ernsts, all that
so
stuff.
when
They
I-
get the
when I
Pirate
s-
Isles, I think.
When I set up, I will get a farmhouse in Hamlet, and that'll be my region of adventure.
There
All
you
right,
go.
today's adventure is milking the cow.
It's-
Okay.
It's not that exciting, but yeah. So, and then those organizers are the ones who determine who the authors are and what they need. So already for Legends of Greyhawk, like I wrote one of the ones that premiered at Gen Con for the campaign,
Mhm.
like one of the intro ones. It was kind of fun, and
It
then
was one of the best ones. As well.
yeah, of course it was.
Obviously.
I always like when people enjoy the stuff
Right.
I write. And then I have one for Ernst too that I just finished.
Okay.
That's in editing and stuff. So, but I, like I said, I wear a lot of hats. So I
Yes.
do a lot of writing, I do a lot of editing, I do a lot of jumping around and organizing this stuff, and I'll help and run booths and do all that good stuff too. So
So I've got two final questions, and I like to ask all of my guests these questions, but they're easy.
okay, like
But there are no prizes.
oh well, yeah, that's fine.
How did you get involved in gaming?
That's actually kind of a fun question. So when I was 10 years old, a person in my neighborhood had a garage sale, and they had a monster manual in the garage sale, and I loved mythology, like Greek mythology and all that stuff, and I was like, this book is so cool. So I bought the book.
How much is it? $2.
It was one.
It was a buck.
It was $1, and my cousin at the time lived next door to me, so we would just sit and like read through the monster manual for like ever, and then
Sure.
eventually we picked up the other books. So I was 10 years old at that point, and my mom. I lived on the border.
So this is like 16 years ago.
Yeah, let's go with that. But I lived on the border of Wisconsin, Illinois.
Okay. Yeah, we're out of the Chicago
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
So-
Well, I lived in Antioch. So,
No, okay.
my mom had heard of this thing called Gen Con that was in
Mhm.
Milwaukee. And she's like, I
Yes.
think that's something that you guys would like. Would you like to go? So at 10 years old, she took my cousin and I to our first Gen Con.
What a cool mom.
Yeah. That
Seriously.
was, yeah. She
So-
had a lot of fun. And I never left the dealer hall for the first 5 years of that because I didn't know that there was other things. I just thought
So I
that
was
was
curious,
great.
after you got there with your mom and you were there for, a day or two or whatever length
It
of
was just a
time,
day.
is
Yeah.
your mom kind of like,
Oh,
this
no.
is not what I was expecting?
Oh no, my mom loves that stuff. Like when at the time that was also during like the Satanic Panic a little bit
Yeah,
and like
sure.
stuff like that. She's like, so it's probably fine, but I would like to sit down and play with you to determine if this is appropriate. And then she wanted to play all the time, which as a kid you're like, no, go away, mom.
Nice.
So she was fine with it at that point, but it was good. And then I just kind of played since then.
Okay, my final question.
Yeah.
What is a game that you have absolutely zero involvement with that you absolutely love? You'd love to play.
That I have zero involvement in that I love to play.
I mean, it doesn't have to be anything recent or anything. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
I just
older stuff.
I like mixing it up. So like
Mhm.
I like like I was gonna play Power Rangers, but I can't now. I have a seminar then. I got added into a seminar
Sorry,
just to mix it up.
my voice is going. I can't make it
Uh,
to the seminar. When
but-
everybody sees you playing Power Rangers.
I have recently enjoyed playing Shadowrun.
Mhm.
I have also enjoyed playing Aliens, and
The new edition that just came out.
we have not switched to the new edition yet.
There
So,
aren't
but
massive changes.
yeah, I didn't think there were. And then the other one, sometimes like some friends of mine, we just dusted off our very old vampire books. I was like, wow, let's go. So it's been fun to kind of just do different things and kind of get back into it. And
And I'm sure it's kind of a nice palate cleanser to be able to, you're working a lot of like D20 sort of games. So it's probably,
there's a lot, yeah.
it's probably pretty nice to be like, oh, hey, I'm back to Pips in Vampire the Masquerade. Nice.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, like when I get asked to do a lot of writing, it is often high level adventures because it is very hard to get somebody to do that and then have them do it appropriately.
Oh
And
yeah.
so when they find somebody that tends to be like, I'm like, so lately I've been like, can I do something else? Like I just want to mix it up. Like I'll do a low level adventure, or like world building or whatever else. And so lately it's been like, here, do the adventure and you can do this other stuff. So I'm like,
It's-
great.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because, and this is not just for D&D. There are a lot of other role playing
Mhm.
games out there where it seems like the lower level, lower experienced adventures are far more entertaining than the high level adventures.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, well, okay, you guys are 10th level. Let's just start from scratch again with a new campaign.
Yeah, people tend to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like for example, so I worked on Candlekeep Mysteries for Wizards. My adventure was the last one in the book, the 16th level. Originally, the book was supposed to go to 20th level. So when I turned it in, it was a 20th level adventure, and then we
Toned it down.
toned it down to the appropriate level because they had to do some cuts and stuff. So, but again, the end, and there's a lot more moving parts at the end of like when you have a high level adventure because players can do so much more,
Right.
and you have to prep
take that
for
all
it.
into account.
Yep. So, and you don't want to take away what they can do. You
Right.
have to be creative and work within the rules, I feel like, and still make it challenging and fun.
Right. You don't want to penalize the players for their success. Oh, well, sorry, there's this magical aura that's going to put a kibosh on like your best skills,
Right.
best powers.
Because then somebody's sitting there and they're bored because now they can't do anything.
Right. Tony, any final words you'd like to share with the audience today?
No, come check out Adventures League and Legends of Greyhawk and, pick up some of those other books that I had talked about because those are pretty fun and, come to the page. It's fun. It's been pretty cool. Everybody's been very nice.
Except for me. You're like, oh, this guy here,
What?
boy.
I'm just sitting here like this. Yeah. No.
Tony, thank you very much for joining us today. And we will see you floating around.
Yes.
Enjoy
thank
the
you
show.
for having me.
Of
It's
course.
awesome.
I don't think What is the delay?
Typically it's 15 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, I haven't used Restream, so this is my first change.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm just like staring at this droid over here behind Wes.
We're worried that it might have a bounty.
Here.
Yeah.
It's Tiger Wizard
Hello.
from Exalted Funeral. At least that's how I know him. And he is joining us to talk about lots of stuff today here at day 3. No, day 2.
Day 2.
It's all
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
What a day.
So it is day 2 of the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. Three fingers. So what's cooking? Good to see you again.
Yeah.
We tend to run into each other at Gen Con.
Yeah. Sure. It's good to be here.
So first thing I'm starting.
Thanks for having me on.
The Funeral had a couple of my absolute favorite role-playing games I reviewed in 2025, and I am talking about Land of Eam and the highly anticipated Dolmenwood finally arrived.
Yes.
Congratulations on those.
Thanks. I can't take much or any of the credit. We had phenomenal creators working with us to help produce both of those games. Gavin Norman, Phatic Gnome, for the Dolmenwood. You probably have heard of him from Old School Essentials. And then Ben and James, the creative team behind Land of Eam. You might know them from their Rickety Stitch series. So they've been working in the Land of Eam for years, and it's just a smash hit.
Let's delve a little bit deeper into the two of them.
Okay.
So first of all, I think Land of Eam, we were actually talking about this with folks I know in the industry just Wednesday night,
Sure.
that the tagline for Land of Eam is, it's like, personally, I think that sells Land of Eam short.
I agree. It's, I guess,
It's easy to understand.
it's
for
easy
people.
to get it.
Okay.
So there is an amount of whimsy and injected humor that I think rings true for a statement. Equally massive setting that exists underneath it in the Underlands. And then, I mean, it's just so much stuff. There's so much content. They've been working on it for so long. So yeah, trying to sum it all up in one tagline. I agree. Yeah, sells it short. Was that leading me somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always lead my interviews.
All right. Lead me.
So I think a lot of people, when they first pick up Land of Eam, like myself, I was really pleasantly surprised by how old school in theme it is and how it takes an old school direction, even though it's a D12 mechanic.
Sure.
So it's not derived from a D20 system, but there's just an old school mentality to the proceedings that I personally was not expecting, and blew me away.
So I was on a panel yesterday morning talking about the OSR and the state of the OSR and like what's coming for the OSR.
I believe the title of that was, "Is the OSR dead?"
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's very much
I can't
alive.
believe the panels have clickbait titles. Oh
It
my
wasn't. No, that's not the. It was the. Let's talk about the state of the OSR. But I talked about Land of Eam.
Yeah.
Because I look at the way the information is provided and accessible, and it strikes me very much as an OSR style of gameplay. Even though, personally, for me, the thing of the OSR that I really vibe on is black and white line drawings and the maps that I like to do. But I think it is. I think it falls into the category of an OSR game.
it's weird because OSR is so broad, and people can't even agree what the R stands for.
Radical.
I always say Renaissance,
Rockin'.
rocking, old school rocking.
Yeah.
But I think there is a misconception by some when they see OSR,
hmm
they're like, okay, so it's like cleaned up rules from Dungeons and Dragons, and it's just kind of rehashed
Sure.
to be easier understood or more intuitive. And that's not the case at all.
I agree. That is not the case.
So that's why I use Renaissance.
Yeah, instead of any of those other R words.
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
What's planned for? Oh my gosh, Chuck Cumbo from Troll Lord Games is flipping me the bird as he walks. No,
Chuck,
he went like that. He didn't flip me the.
There's a lot of people wandering by that you can't see on your screen, but
We're giving waves and stuff like that.
all kinds of stuff. There's some.
Stop distracting
droids over
Tiger
here.
Wizard here.
I'm focused. I'm ready.
It's my 30 minutes, damn it.
Okay.
So what's cooking for Land of Beams since we're talking about it?
Oh, so we had another crowdfunder last summer, and that is the next thing coming up. It is the Underlands expansion, but there's also included in that Kickstarter the Dungeoneer Adventures box set, which is a beginner's introduction to role-playing games that is set also in the Land of Eam.
Sweet.
So already,
there's some reviewer out there. He's kind of an idiot.
Uh-oh.
I think he's probably going to get to see a copy of these releases when they arrive.
oh, absolutely.
You didn't think I was referring to myself right away, did you? When I said idiot,
No, I
you're
kind
like, no, I knew.
I've seen enough of your content. I figured you were talking
I know
about
you're
you.
an idiot, yeah. Okay, so let's segue over to something else, which people will definitely consider as OSR. We'll talk about Dolmenwood.
Yeah, Dolmenwood. It's out. It's here finally. Thank you. Thank you, shipping gods, for
Right,
finally
thank you, printer.
for finally getting these books out, and they're available. And if you haven't checked it out, it is lavish. It is robust. It is beautiful. It is
Yes.
folklore. Like it's kind of if Dungeons and Dragons was inspired by British folk lore instead of the Appendix N stuff.
Right.
It's sort of like maybe this is where it would have gone. So you've got some copies. You have a chance to look through them.
You haven't seen the review?
I saw that you sent me some reviews. I haven't watched them yet.
Okay, campaign book.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
I just said when I released my New Year's Eve video where it's the best
Best
RPGs I've reviewed, it's not the best of the year because I haven't seen everything, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it wasn't like I had 100 games. You know, there was a select number, and yeah, you guys had 2 of them
I love it.
in there.
Yeah.
I think there were 15. all
Okay.
total. Didn't even check out the reviews. I'm not talking. Man, you got so many people, you know, in your ear with reviewers and stuff like that.
It's true, and I do try my best to watch
I
all of your
know.
videos.
You emailed me back, so I knew you saw it. So I at least saw the email.
Yeah.
So you didn't ignore me. Yeah, whatever, man.
I would never.
Best of 2025. Yeah, okay, whatever.
I love the enthusiasm that you bring to reviewing books, right? You are excited and you are engaged in reading the material and understanding the material that a lot of people aren't. A lot of people will sort of look at the pretty pictures, maybe read a little bit, and then throw it up on their Instagram. But I can see in your
sadly, a few people will share a review based on that, and it's so like, oh wow, I think you missed it on that.
But we're not going to throw anybody under
I
the
didn't
bus or
mention
name
a
any
name or
names.
names.
But all I'm trying to say is that I appreciate the
Thank you.
time and energy that you put into reviewing.
And
All,
one-
like
one
almost
thing
everything
will-
I send you, you make a review of. So
Right.
like
every once in a while you'll send me something because Tiger Wizard tends to send me things like out of the blue. A
That's
lot
true.
of times, just a box shows up and I'm like, sweet, oh, Exalted Funeral stuff. And on occasion there's some wacky stuff that might not necessarily be my bag of tricks. But I'll tell you what, you're talking about like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's why I don't share overly negative reviews. Because
Yeah, you want to share stuff that you're excited about.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I want to talk
I don't
about.
like to sit there being like, yeah, well, this is awful, and this is bad, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, I think most people love talking about the things that they're really excited about.
Right.
I am as well.
Well, I think people can tell.
Okay.
So for Dolmenwood, that is
Yeah.
firmly entrenched in the old school mentality.
Sure.
It's got, well, I mean, like Gavin made his name off of old school essentials.
Oh, yeah. Can
which
we
essentially cleaned up BX, made it far easier
essentially?
for people to understand. But I know for a fact, because I had interviewed Gavin, one of the things that he felt could have been added was, and I even had mentioned this, there was no like introduction to the hobby.
Yeah.
It was sort of, these are the rules.
Yeah.
But we're not really telling you how this plays. Right. Which
Yeah.
Dolmen would address
It does.
very well.
There's a lot of games coming out now that sort of take one or the other side of that coin. They either assume that you know what you're doing when you pick up the book.
Right, which is fine.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
usually it's very elegant. And then there's other games that spend a lot of time sort of explaining why you might want to play a game.
Right.
So, yeah,
I
I
used to
think
always
both are
joke
fine.
around that if I were to write a role playing game myself,
Okay.
the section where it says what is a role playing game,
Uh-huh.
it would be one sentence and it would say the book you're holding.
Yeah. That's interesting. I read a review or an article about a person that had been writing a lot of reviews talking about that section, right? That what is a role-playing game, and how most role-playing games just describe the book that you're holding,
Right.
right? Because, well, you know, if I'm going to tell you about what a podcast is, I'm going to tell you about what my podcast is,
Right.
and just use that as the definitive example of what. Yeah, of course you would do that, right?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you?
Right.
But yeah, it's I think those sections are really great because they usually, if they're explaining what type of role-playing game you're holding, it gives you a good idea before you get too deep into the book whether it's for you or not.
And I should also point out, if you're not overly familiar with the Gaming Gang, my website is thegaminggang.com, and I do have a YouTube channel. I have video coverage of all of this stuff that we're talking about right now. In fact, my last live stream was a Dolmenwood Spectacular. I shared live first looks at the first printed adventures and the minis.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, if you're curious about my thoughts about it, which I don't know why you would want to know, but
Because of what we
check
just
those
said,
out.
because he's excited
Yeah,
and
he's so excited. And of course, Exalted Funeral is exaltedfuneral.com, because I don't sell these products. He does.
that's right.
So you might want to visit that website first.
And there's a couple other websites. I don't know if this is like a wrap-up thing, but
No, we got
time? okay. But while we're on the subject of old school essentials and Necrotic Gnome,
Right.
there is an upcoming spectacular similar to your video. It's an event, a month-long event on BackerKit.
I was going to mention that.
Okay, mention.
No. It's
Oh,
you were going to answer
it's,
my question. I don't have to ask the question now.
Well, the question is, what's up with Demon Month on BackerKit? So Demon Month is Gavin has created a demonic grimoire for Old School Essentials and has invited a bunch of creators, including myself, to participate in creating a bunch of stuff similar to Mothership Month, and we did Mouse Ritter Month. Masurita Month.
As people who watch my live streams know, I have to pronounce it like that at least once. Masrita! I don't know. It's just funny that way.
And it launches in May. So there will be a new, supplement for Old School Essentials, the Demonic Grimoire, and then I think there's going to be like 15 project from some people you might not expect. There's some people that haven't been
I'm not
announced
one
yet.
of them. Don't worry.
There's some people you might not expect to be creating Old School Essentials content. So definitely go check that out. Sign up for all the projects. Mine, I'm partnering with a buddy, Don Stroud.
That name rings a bell.
Ruination Pilgrimage. He's done a bunch of stuff for OSC. The Isle of the Plangent Mage.
That's where I recognize the name.
Fantastic writer, and I'll be doing the artwork. That one is called Abyssal Hymnal. No, sorry, Abattoir Hymnal. It's about ripping skin off of people.
See, now that's probably one you wouldn't want me to do.
No,
Nah, probably not.
it'll be old school style.
Oh, that's old school. Right?
Oh yeah,
It's Satanic Panic old school.
yeah.
So piggybacking on OSE,
Okay.
I know a worry from some of my audience in the past when Dolmenwood became. One thing I like about Dolmenwood, it is a role-playing game that was hotness, and it has stayed hot.
Yeah.
That is not usually the case by the next, this game's going to destroy Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to overthrow. Not that anybody ever claimed Dolmenwood was going to do that. But a lot of people I have heard from in chat have asked, hey, is OSC going to go away? Because Gavin's like so focused on Dolmenwood. And I was like, don't worry.
Yeah, I can
don't
reassure you there
worry."
as well. No, Old School Essentials is not going anywhere. There will be some revisions, but those are just tidying, house cleaning. All of the books that you've already collected are still going to work. Promise you. It's not going anywhere. Dolmenwood, which I'm sure you noticed, shares a lot of DNA with
Yes,
Old
it
School
does.
Essentials. Is its own thing. It's been the world that Gavin has been playing in for forever. So it's a separate thing. Old School Essentials is not going anywhere.
And that was the impression I had too. I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. Plus, for one, there's a lot of authors, creators out there outside of Gavin
Yeah.
who create. In fact, I thought I heard Brad Kerr's now like officially on board with Necrotic Gnome.
You might have heard that.
Yeah,
I think
heard
it's true.
there was somebody whispered that in my ear.
Okay. Was it this IG-88 droid over here?
Yes. Okay, so one of the things about video,
Yes.
never refer to things that people can't see.
Like when you were like, oh, this guy walking by.
Oh,
There's a
man.
droid over here.
That is
The
such-
Star Wars droid.
That is the coolest costume they've got on. Oh my! Can you believe that?
I know.
And people are like,
Huh? What are you
"What
talking
looking
about?
at?" I'm
Um,
just teasing.
So we're gonna talk about this thing.
Yeah, I was just about to segue into. I know you juggle a lot of things, and there's more. There's so much more at Exalted Fuel. There's always new stuff coming out, which is
Yeah.
awesome too. But I know there's got to be some items on the horizon, or maybe coming to crowdfunding. I don't know that you're super excited about.
Yes, a lot of things.
And
that's
sorry,
time.
We got to wrap up.
So Tavers is something that I'm very excited about. I wrote this game. It is a storytelling game that takes place in the universe of Meow Wolf. If you're not familiar with Meow Wolf, it is an immersive art experience that you can visit in real life. You can go and wander and explore in these exhibits and uncover mysteries. So when you're in the exhibits, there are mysteries that you can solve, sort of piece little clues together. And that's basically what I had been challenged to do in this tabletop role-playing game, to take the experience of visiting a Meow Wolf exhibition and take it to your gaming table. So it's a storytelling game. There are dice, but they're not a heavy feature. And it's coming to Kickstarter next month in February. So very excited about it. Please go check out you're gonna put links down? Check out the link down below.
I have no control over.
Sure. Well,
But
if you're interested in checking it out, you can go to.
shoot me an email. I'll get it out as a news piece.
I'm gonna shoot Jeff an email, and he'll shoot it out as a news piece. But
Where would people get that idea?
I don't know. You can go to our website. There is launching this week. There is a very special early sign up to be notified gift So you get a physical miniature just by signing up to be notified. I think you have to actually back the physical thing when it happens, but it is super
Because
cool.
that'd be awfully expensive to shipping stuff out to people are like, man,
I don't want the game, but I want
supporting
the.
I want the mini.
It's a miniature of a hamster that has grown to kaiju size, so it's quite a large
Oh wow.
miniature.
So this is sounding rather gonzo.
Oh, Gonzo is not doing it justice. It is a crazy psychedelic explosion of art and color and
Man, you be
portal
tripping.
hopping. It's not like a drug based
No,
thing.
I
It's
kidding.
it's you know it's yeah, it's an explosion of art and color and wild shifting of experience.
And I believe that is coming to Kickstarter early this year.
Yes, in February. Next month.
That's pretty close.
So
Pretty
sign
much
up,
on
yeah,
the
sign up to be notified now, or jump on when it launches.
Anything else on the horizon you want to give a shout out to?
I'd love to shout myself out. My name's Tiger Wizard. I have a Patreon. Every month I make one postcard sized dungeons. They are very OSR, very rules light. They're also, I think, quite funny. There's a free tier. You can just follow along. I put up a free thing almost every month. So yeah, go join the Patreon. It's Tiger Wizard.
And if I seem to recall correctly, I think you did a little role-playing game called Dungeon Cats.
Yeah,
Wasn't that nominated for some awards?
it was nominated for Best Family Game for the Innie Award, right next to Land of Eam, which actually won. So it was hard to be bummed about losing.
Hey, at least it stayed in-house.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a cat owner myself, I got a kick out of it.
Good. Well, I'm
So,
glad
it's
you
just-
enjoyed it.
it's just a little zine size.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing. I
Yeah.
made it kind of on a dare, and I liked it so much that I went ahead and did a small crowdfunder for it, and I'm in the third printing of it now. So people seem to like playing it.
Sweet. Tiger Wizard, thank you very much for
Hey.
joining us.
Jeff, thank
you know
you.
what? Last question I got for you.
Oh, okay.
Is what do you have going on here at the con?
Ah,
You already were in a seminar or anything else? Here?
yeah. So I'll be running Tavers. This is actually the first convention that we've run it for people outside of the playtest groups. So today and tomorrow I'll be running Tavers, and then after hours I'll be running Torn. Torn is another little side passion project born out of early AD&D trauma when a dungeon master explained to me that I'd failed a roll and then asked for my character sheet. You know where this is going?
You didn't flip the table, did you?
Just ripped it right in half. So when you take damage in Torn, you hand your character sheet to your neighbor who closes their eyes and tears a corner off of the sheet.
That's the title.
Yeah, it's a fun convention game, and I'm really excited to play. Yeah, maybe you come play it later on tonight.
Yeah, hey, yeah, all depends. You know, I got a jam-packed schedule, folks.
All right.
Tiger Wizard, thank you very much. Hey,
Jeff,
keep up the great work at
thank you so much.
Exalted Funeral.
I appreciate you taking the time.
We'll see each other later.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Keep it real out there, everybody.
And hey, I remember the day this time. I said day 3 earlier. I'm like, no, it's only day 2.
Day 2.
Day 2 of page 3 continues. And I have the publisher of Fight On, Ignatius Umlaut,
Hello.
joining me, and we are going to talk old school goodness because Fight's on.
It does.
Ladies and gentlemen. So it returned with issue 16,
Got a new issue,
right?
17.
Well, but
Just
the
hot off-
return was 16.
Return was 15.
15.
15.
Okay.
So we've had 3 issues in our new run. So we were. Should I just go ahead and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk. What is Fight On?
Yeah. So Fight On is a fanzine. It's a very successful one, but it's a fan magazine. It was started originally in 2008, although the conversations that led to it began in the year before that. And we were part of, in the wake of third edition, 3.5, and then Pathfinder. It's like, what's going on? A lot of us, those games, we wanted to kind of return to the older way of playing. 0E, 1E.
AD&D.
Yeah, AD&D, basic. Those kind of things. We were like, what was good about those old ways of playing? And one of the things that the group around Fight On, because there are a bunch of different, connected groups in the early OSR, we all kind of knew each other back then. But one thing that was really cool to us was, first of all, like, kind of the minimalism of the but also just like the endless creativity, right? That people just made up their own stuff. Sometimes you had to because the early
Of
rules
course,
weren't
right.
very clear, you
Right.
know.
I mean, there weren't a whole lot of adventures that were published.
No, so you make your own adventures. You say, okay, somebody wants to play maybe a pirate, so you can do a pirate as a fighter or a thief. But what if you want to like just make a pirate class that has pirate abilities? So you write that up. Or somebody wants to play a bugman instead of a dwarf or an elf, you write that up. And so that kind of like energy of all that kind of raw creativity, which I think now, the OSR is a kind of big thing now, but that spirit that I think we help promote, you see it all kinds of places. People are like, and I mean it's cool. In a game like 5E or 3E or even something like Hero System Champions, those games are great, but they take a lot of overhead to make stuff because you got to balance it and you got to like make sure it works with the rules and stuff. And you can make a really cool monster in 10 minutes for old D&D. All
Right.
you really need is a concept, a few ideas for special abilities. You put it down, and then your player's like, "Whoa, what's that? Like, I don't even know what I'm fighting." It's like,
And if it's beyond the capabilities of that party, then they better run.
yeah, that's right. That's another thing for sure. So, we modeled the fanzine originally kind of a little bit on Early Dragon magazine, and actually Tim Task, who just passed away, was a big support in several issues. Issue 5, we interviewed him in issue 16 not long ago, so that was really cool that we got to have that kind of last conversation. And also things like the Arduin Grimoires, right? Which, if you know those, there's these kind of wacky 70s like DIY D&D supplements.
And that certainly does look very DUI.
Yeah, right.
I have seen PDFs of the originals, and it's like,
Yeah, and it's this great mix of like brilliance and weirdness, and some stuff just doesn't work. But
Right.
it's just like the mad DM.
it's a like a mad DM stream of consciousness almost. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, those things were always cool to get because I actually started playing, back in the 70s. I can talk about that a little bit maybe when we get on from Fight On to Me if we have time. But
No, we're not gonna have time for that.
yeah, I know. Who cares? I'm just a guy. I edit a magazine. But I was playing in the 70s, and you get those Arduin Grimoires. It's like, whoa, what's this? Like, and again, not all of it is usable. Some of it's broken, but some of it's great. I mean, there's magic items and spells and
And
stuff.
there's things that you as a dungeon master, game master,
Yeah.
would riff on, just be
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, that looks cool, but I'm going to put my own twist on it.
Yeah, and actually, Gary Gygax, he says at the end of the original D&D rules, to make it your own. And and that's what they did in Dragon. That's what they did in Arduin Grimoires. That's what they did in fanzines like Alrums and Excursions, which is another influence on us. They just finally stopped. Lee Gold, hobby, but 50 years doing a fanzine, her eyesight, I guess, is failing. So she's there's a new one though called Ever and Anon, which some of the people that worked on A&E are trying to pick up from her. So,
Okay.
and they're all free. Their PDFs are free. So check out Ever and Anon. And that's also broader. Fight On, we do have some stuff that's a little more experimental. We also branch out into other old games. Articles for Bushido,
Yeah.
Bunnies and Burrows is welcome. But we also people are making newer games in the spirit of the older games, and we do all that stuff too. I mean, you find articles for everybody who writes for what they play.
Right.
So some people were doing the old rules, but just not saying so. Some people were doing Swords and Wizardry. Some people were doing Osric, Shadow, Dark, Old School Essentials. So it all works out. But those games.
So
Yeah.
essentially, what you're saying is that with Fight On magazine,
Yeah.
at least its current
Yeah.
incorporation of the OSR, you're covering the wide range.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not just, hey, we're a retro clone magazine.
No, and we're not for any one system or company, although I get along great with a lot of the guys who produce those
Sure.
games, but no, it's not. And actually, when Gary got Tim to do Dragon, one of Tim's conditions was I don't want it to be a house organ. And if you remember, early Dragon had articles for Traveler,
Yes, they have review. Well, and the reviews were actually fairly legit at that time.
Yeah, fairly.
Right. Yes. Right.
Some better
Fairly.
than others, but yeah. But
So-
yeah, and so that's what this is kind of. I want this to be for the OSR, at least as many people in the OSR as want to participate, kind of like that. Like everybody's sharing their stuff, everybody's sharing their adventures. We've got 4 adventures or more in every issue, so it's packed. And
Yeah, we're when we're talking about something else,
Yeah.
I'm actually going to hold up,
Oh,
cover
okay.
my mug so people can get a look inside
okay.
that issue.
So yeah, so that's some stuff about Fight On. I don't know what do you want to.
Okay, so as far as the first iteration of Fight On, is it issue 4 that's famous? There's an adventure, I think it was, because I've heard people talk about if you're going to pick up one of the backlog of Fight On, you got to get issue, I swear I think it's 4, because the adventure in it is fantastic.
Well, there's a few of those. So issue 3 has Spawning Grounds of the Crabmen, which is one that a lot of people like. Issue 4 has House of the Axe, which I wrote, which is kind of a wild. It's a tribute to Arduin kind of adventure,
Okay.
and it has. Does it have blocks of clocks? I wish you kind of caught me out here. I don't know everything that's in every issue.
No, well, you know what? I didn't expect you to.
Yeah, but that Blocks of Clocks by Tony Roston is another good adventure in the early issues. Jeff Talanian, who does the Hyperborea game, actually ran that adventure for Hyperborea at a lot of cons for a long time. He just adjusted world and system,
course,
which
right.
is what we do,
Right.
I wrote one that was pretty good called Warrens of the Troglodytes. There's a lot of, one thing I would say is that if you're thinking about making the move from being kind of full-time GM to maybe somebody who's publishing, a lot of the people in Fight On are kind of people who made that move. They're like,
All my friends tell me these adventures I write are awesome. Maybe I should share them with the
yeah,
world.
exactly right. And then, you get good reviews, you play it, and you decide you like it, you start publishing your own stuff. There's been a lot of people who've taken that route in the fanzine. So, yeah, I don't know. I do think there are very good adventures in issues 3 and 4 and 6, and a lot. I don't know which exact one you're talking about.
No,
Yeah.
No, because there were, originally there were 14
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
And
That's
something I have always heard from people too is that Fight On was actually very influential in the growth of the OS.
I think that's right. People have told me that too, and it was pretty successful. One thing was that I was involved in a D&D, right? But I don't think. I think it's this may be a pitch to the gaming public. I don't think we have to pigeonhole ourselves. Every indie games and old school D&D and Call of Cthulhu. I mean, you don't have to. Obviously, people, I like this better. I designed for this. I always get a little sad when I hear gamers trashing other kinds of games because there's so many cool things that all of us do.
Of course.
Yeah, and I mean, there have been a few times when I've tried to fight on a little bit. I get some kind of weird indie thing. It's like, well, it's not the exact vibe, but it's close enough. And because to me, that's part of the spirit.
Why don't you hand me issue 17?
Sure. This is a slightly. Well, okay, there it is.
I was going to say, so I don't want to lose your spot there.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's Paul Carrick. That's a great Fool picture he did for us.
Now, those of you who follow the Gaming Gang, this cover is going to be familiar because I just shared news about this issue when it came out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Both on the website and on the show. Woo! So I'm just doing this to block my face because people are already tired of seeing my.
Yeah, so it's jam packed. This is the biggest issue we've ever produced, but for the first issue is at least 88 pages. This one's 166.
That's why I was looking. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give them a page count.
Yeah, that's the biggest one we've ever done.
Beat me to it.
There was just so much, and there's some great adventures in there. There's a wonderful dinosaur themed adventure. Also, we've been serializing this Darkness Beneath Mega Dungeon since issue 2. So every issue from 2 to 16 has a level for that dungeon. We didn't have a new level in this issue because the final level has to be kind of on it, basically. But hopefully in the next issue, it's progressing. It's cool. But there's also a guy, Elder Thing is his handle. A lot of people publish with their screen handles on the internet, both because they're known and maybe because they don't real name.
I know. I just talked to Tiger Wizard from Exalted Funeral. It's like, yes, I actually know his real name.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I refer to him when we're talking.
Right. But anyway, he's doing a serialized dungeon. So issue 15, 16, 17 have 3 levels of his dungeon. I think it's really cool. Lots of people contribute from all over the world. So that's really, and then there's also always like some magic items, it's some spells, it's variant races, it's variant classes, and a little like, the old Dragon or Arduin, you're not going to use everything, but if you're an active DM, I bet you're going to find at least a half dozen things where you're like, oh yeah, I can totally rip that off.
Right.
One guy characterized the magazine. This is a maybe self-deprecating. He said it was his favorite toilet reading, and I get what he meant.
Hey, at least he put his phone down.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I get what he meant, right? It's just that kind of you browse. It's like an old-time magazine. Magazines aren't as big a part of the culture now as they used to be. But like you sit there, you think,
3-4 pages. Okay, I'm ready to get back on with my life.
Although some of the adventures do get up to 10 and 20, which is why the magazine grows, because some of these adventures get pretty big. And I, if it's good, I want to publish it.
What kind of release schedule are you aiming for?
We started out at quarterly. We were only able to keep up quarterly for a couple years. I got 2 issues out last year. So 16 and 17 came out last year. I would say that would be the minimum that we're hoping for. If we can get up to 3 or 4 issues a year, that would be awesome.
Right.
But it does take time because, it's a fanzine. And then some people are, like we've got a guy in the last couple issues who've been submitting chainmail scenarios. And those are cool. I mean, I actually played that. Paul Stormberg runs great chainmail games at Gary Con and at EggCon.
Right.
And I played in those games. So I played it some. But anyway, it's also like part of the genetics of D&D.
Of course.
But, he's writing it right now. So, like, if I was ready with the rest of issue 18, I would still be like, oh, well, you said you were going to get me this. You said you're going to get me that. Sometimes stuff gets pushed off. But, to make a balanced issue, you have to get a lot of contributions. And then I have a couple guys who are kind of willing to write a little bit on spec for me. Like, hey, nobody turned in a cool new race. Can you make something or something like that? So,
So it's the content just it has to rise. It has to cook.
It has to cook.
You want to take it out of the oven too early.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. You want it to have. To me, it feels full at a certain point, and you're like, okay, this is a full issue.
Well, plus you also get known for presenting really good content.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then if you suddenly start, well, now
Yeah.
the level is kind of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
People will talk, maybe even on the internet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I
I
don't
hear people do that.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Yeah, so there is some quality control. I do think one of the real pleasures of working on Fight On, when I've had the time, is every so often I'll talk to some old guy who's not even an internet person, and he's got his little typed manuscript of his Gamma World adventure or whatever. And sometimes it's too much work, but sometimes I can help people develop stuff. So it's like this, because I think there's a lot of treasures in people's basements that maybe something they for their friends or whatever, and really about kind of like conserving and curating the best of that stuff we can find. But it's also really cool. I mean, part of the reason we started again is because I took a break. I had some personal stuff, some really good and bad stuff at the same time to me, and I was just like, I don't have the bandwidth to. I was thinking about coming back anyway, but then, again, there's a bunch of younger guys in Europe, some in Norway, Germany, Hungary, other places, and they're like really into Fight On. I joke like, we're like David Hasselhoff, we're big in Germany or whatever. But
all right, Ignatius, I do not need to see video of you eating a cheeseburger off the floor. Just let you know.
okay, well, you won't, I hope. I think I had
It'll
that.
be a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, I think I had that scrubbed from all the servers before.
Right.
But these younger guys are really into the old school games in Europe, and so actually some of these dungeons are from these guys who weren't even born when these games originally came out, but through the OSR and through like dedicated AD&D communities and stuff like that, they're like, this is what we like to play, and it's sort of like a new generation,
Sure.
Yeah.
So obviously your life is not just completely Fight On.
Yeah,
So-
I play games too.
Exactly. So I mean, is there anything like outside of Fight On you want to talk about?
I could talk a little bit about myself and my D&D history. In my secret identity, high above the streets of Detroit, I'm a college professor. Some of what I teach and some of the gaming stuff does interact a little bit, but they're different. Being a professor is cool, but it's a lot more like left brain a lot of the time, a lot more analytic. And one thing I love about the gaming mixed up with that is just kind of let go and like let the creative energy
Let it
fly
flow.
and so forth. In terms of my D&D background, I actually started at a very particular time. So the Holmes basic set, the very first basic set, it just came out. It didn't even have B1, the Search for the Unknown,
Right.
yet. It had a monster treasure assortment and some dungeon geomorphs. And so this was what I actually got it for my dad for Christmas. And he was like, I can't really figure this thing out. But we tried to figure it out.
Right.
He was a war gamer. So, with my dad, I'd play like Africa Core and Tactics 2 and all those.
When you were talking about house organs, I almost mentioned what? You don't want to be like Avalon Hills
I
the
know.
General?
I know, but then we'd be ding ourselves.
I know.
I think we just did.
I know.
But yeah, exactly. That's the
Like
goal.
all things Avalon Hill,
Yeah.
and it's all
Yeah.
just the greatest.
But I,
Okay. Gotta get it.
yeah, I still do play war games. I've got, but obviously the publishing is more oriented toward the role playing.
Of course.
But so
Well,
anyway,
wait, you got chainmail scenario.
that's true.
That
We
is
got
miniatures.
There's been a few other things like that, minis and mini games and stuff, but it's mostly the old school fantasy role playing. But you get that thing, and you've got to figure out how to play it. But then my dad did stick with me long enough that we were like, okay, what do you do after level 3? The player's handbook was not out yet, so it's this very particular moment. So we had to buy the original collector's edition of OD&D, which was even harder to figure out than Holmes. But so when you came into the hobby at that point, you were sort of almost had to be a game designer, at least a little bit, because you couldn't. Even a couple years later, there was still a lot to interpret, but you could follow a module, and the explanatory text was a little better in AD&D.
Yes.
There's more of a culture built up. The most extreme case of this, Ken St. Andre, famous designer, Tunnels and Trolls, Stormbringer.
Monsters, monsters.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But when Ken got the original D&D set, and he said, this is a great idea. I cannot figure out how to play this game. So he wrote Tunnels and Trolls, essentially like because he's like, this is a great idea. He made a whole other game. And I mean, most of us tried to make another game out of what we were seeing in the book, unless we were like Westerners who played with Gary and Dave and stuff, which I wasn't. I was a California kid. Yeah. So that was kind of the moment I came in. AD&D came out, and it was interesting though because there's a fairly big community, and a lot of them read Fight On, and I love them. So this is not at all negative. It's just, they talk about rules as written, AD&D, and you can play that way, and it's challenging in certain ways. But I got to say that when I was playing the first wave, 70 in there, I don't think I encountered more than one or two DMs who played, particularly like the initiative rules and some of the thing. Like everybody had
house rules.
Yeah, I know. It was, and I think that's one thing that sometimes when younger people come to these old play texts, maybe they don't always realize is that it was as much kind of like a recipe for building your own system as it was a game. Even though it did get more codified. Like AD&D is definitely more codified, but even in AD&D there was, people would take everything with the player's handbook, but the DMG was almost like a choice menu that you took what you wanted from.
So as a kid,
Yeah.
when you'd gotten the Holmes blue box,
Yeah.
and then you went to OD&D,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the
The
player's
Monster
handbook.
Manual. Yeah. It was like Holmes, OD&D, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook.
Right.
Yeah.
So when the player's handbook came out and you read that, where you're like, wait a second, why are there things that are changing?
Yeah.
I thought it's the same game.
Well, do you remember in the early days of 3rd edition when not only Wizards of the Coast but Mongoose were publishing splat books, right? All the complete fighter, or like feats for the wizard or whatever. And so, there were tons of cool ideas in those books. But one problem if you were a DM was that every week some player would show up at your table with a book. Say, hey, I want this for the character.
And you knew nothing about it
Yeah.
until they showed up.
But the reason the players wanted that is because it was cool and it made their characters better. And that was actually kind of why I think the player's handbook was adopted so seamlessly into most D&D groups. My fighters got more hit points. My wizards got more spells. So the characters were better in AD&D for the most part.
Of course.
There's actually a few things you find in OD&D here and there, but for the most part, they're better in AD&D. And so all the players just like, oh, I'm going to use this. Now my fighter's got 10 more hit points or whatever. And it's like, so I think that was one reason why it was adopted so well. I don't know if there's a lesson there for big companies that are doing their own games.
Oh, maybe there is. Could be.
Yeah. But it's interesting because that was a core book rather than like an accessory book, like in the 3E type case. But yeah.
So I've got one last question for you.
Okay.
I normally ask all my guests 2 questions, but
Okay.
we've just tackled the first.
Okay.
How you got in the hobby.
Yeah, right.
So, and because you publish essentially a zine,
Yeah, that's right.
you don't really have any true affiliation with any game publisher.
We're independent,
Right.
the voice of freedom.
So usually my question is, what is a game that you're not affiliated with that you love, but you don't have any affiliation with any publisher? So what is your favorite game?
Well, I mean, my favorite game is the blend of OD&D and AD&D and craziness that existed when I started. I always come back to that.
Okay.
But I mean, since what you're really asking about is like, what do you do besides this? I think in a way.
No, I'm just, what do you
Yeah.
love playing the most?
Yeah, that's what
I
I
guess that's what I'm
But over my history, I've played a lot of different things. I've played some indie games. I used to play Champions and Traveler, so I play a lot of stuff. And actually, I'm working on a Call of Cthulhu adventure right now. So that's like
That's my game.
I love Call of Cthulhu too. And one thing I like about Cthulhu is that con D&D games are great, but a lot of I think the real greatness of D&D is when you have a regular group and you can kind of tell a longer story together and stuff. Call of Cthulhu, you can tell a nice, tight horror story in 4 hours. And you really feel like, because the whole party dies. It's okay. It's Call of Cthulhu,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And of course,
Have
that
you
can be
ever
okay.
read a story from H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah, and actually, killing the whole party can be okay in a D&D con game too. But I don't know, it's just a different vibe. It
As
feels
long
more,
as people had a good time.
yeah, as long as that's right. As long as people. But I'm actually working on a Call of Cthulhu scenario that I'm hoping to. I don't know if I'll ever go and fight on. Maybe I'll just try to. I do sometimes dream of publishing my own stuff and getting into that, but I wind up doing most of my gaming work on this. So for now, I guess it's mostly been. But I will say for the magazine, this big dungeon, Darkness Beneath, it's not in this issue, but it's in issues 2 through 16. There's a level in every issue. We are trying to work toward publishing that as a standalone product. edit it together, because a lot of people really like it. A lot of the levels are really great, and people love Mega Dungeons.
Yeah, of course.
Ours is pretty well regarded on the internet. People talk it and stuff. So we are hoping to. This may take a couple years. I'm an amateur, but we're trying, or maybe just assemble it as a product. But we do kind of hope to maybe bring that stuff to another audience by making it a kind of standalone product.
No, and I think there's a guy who runs like a news website and does videos and stuff like that. Maybe he'll share news of these things.
Well, listen, if you know him, maybe you can give me his card after.
Why I oughta.
Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ignatius, thank you very much for taking time out.
And actually, you're great to talk to. Anytime you want to talk, if you got a panel on your show or something, I'd be happy to come.
I do. I try to do, online interviews and stuff like that. We'll set something up.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Sweet.
I appreciate that. All right. Good
Enjoy
talking
the
to you.
show.
Yeah. Paige is great. Have fun, guys.
And we are to my final interview for today. But hey, don't worry. The page action is, well, I was going to say nonstop. It is going to continue after my interview. So you've got a whole lineup all after. Not as entertaining as we shall be, but you know. So it is day 2 here at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 3. And I have the pleasure to speak with Danielle Doobie of D and Experience, which, no offense, I got to be honest, I don't mind looking ignorant in front of people. I'm not very familiar with what you do.
Fair.
I do understand that you work with role-playing games with children. So first of all, thanks for taking some time out to join me. I'm sure you're super busy here.
Yes,
I did slip you the 20, so we're all good on that.
you don't have to tell them that.
I'm very transparent.
Okay, that's
Invisible man-ish transparent. So let's talk a little bit about what D and Experience is. I believe it is local here in Philadelphia
yes. Philadelphia.
and New York.
Yes,
Okay.
I go
Very nice.
both cities.
Stalker is arriving. Some stock around here. Hello, Ron. So the grand poobah of Paige just swung on past.
Sneaky.
Yes.
So
Oh man, he just blew. Our train of thought is ruined, Ron.
not again, Ron.
The interview is ruined.
Ah. That's it. We have to go.
So
Thank you.
Philadelphia, New York.
And I run D&D games with nerd children. So I started out as a theater kid, then started teaching, then found Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, oh, this is a crazy good teaching tool for students who have like really rigid thinking. So
Yeah.
kids who were having trouble grasping like the concept of character traits. And I had just started playing D&D, and I said, well, there are numbers, and kids understand numbers. And
Are
so,
you sure with the new math? Because I don't know, that ballpark math kind of throws me.
not the ballpark math, regular, just straight up regular math.
I
I'm
didn't see that coming.
no, and so I developed a whole curriculum around using tabletop role playing games to reinforce all of these concepts. So a lot of my games are like curriculum compliant, and I help kids understand basic math, basic English stuff, and then also like social emotional learning, collaborative problem solving, all of these things that they might not get any other hobby.
If you wouldn't mind, Danielle, could you sum up a little bit what, like, say, an average be with your group?
I'll log in, and there's about 6 minutes of catching me up on what happened in the past week. And one of my classes will then proceed to talk nonsense for the next hour, and maybe we play D&D. And one of my other classes says it's been 6 minutes. It's time to play Dungeons and Dragons. And we
They're grown yards in the making.
yes, they're like, we are here for Dungeons and Dragons, Doobie. We talk about anything else.
Your business. All that matters is
My character leveling up. We got to get to leveling. How could you not remember what happened last week? They know everything.
Right.
And we play for about 2 hours. We run a full campaign from August through June. We take a break for the summer, and we start with a new campaign.
And how often do these take place?
I have classes once a week.
Okay.
All my classes meet once a week.
And how many kids are in the class?
I've got 4 to 6 kids in each one, which 6 is a lot. The
I
children.
would, yes. If you have 6 children,
Bless you.
my heart goes out to you.
Good for you.
Thank you. Hey, they are the future, though. Don't
They
forget.
are. No, they're
Do
perfect. I
not
love them.
forget. Right, exactly.
But they're for you. I just
I'm not
teach
going to
them.
do the old W.C. Fields line where it's like, I love children as long as they're cooked properly. No, I like children, but yes, 6.
Yeah.
And what age range are you looking at?
I work with kids anywhere from 6 through 18.
Do you have like groups where you tend to try to keep them around 6 to 10?
Yeah, we want to
Okay.
keep them a little closer, usually in the same grade-ish.
Right.
So right now I've got a group of kids who are 12 to 13 and another one that's 13 to almost 15 now, which I can't think about because I've known them since they were 6.
Still 6, handful. That's it. That's all I got to say. Handful.
Yeah.
So, what is your approach to game mat with kids? I mean, just any kids, really.
Yeah, and for anyone, it's my approach is very. I want you to get what you want to get out of it. So I'm a nonsense dungeon master who makes up things kind of on the fly. I have a world. I have a general understanding of what the
How dare
problem
you
is.
run Dungeons and Dragons and it's not by the book.
I know, no books for me. I don't like them. I think they're very cool and they have a lot of good ideas. But I ran Curse of Strahd one time and it was my face in a book, and I was like, "This is terrible. I don't like DMing this way."
Like, wow, what great interaction I'm having with the table.
At one point during that campaign, I just went, "This isn't in the book, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Of course,
It's fine."
It's your game. You
Yes,
make it your own.
you gotta.
So, you said you're a nonsense DM.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you mean by nonsense DM?
Don't love rules all the time. I think rules are there to give us an understanding of the boundaries of the world, but I'll break them. I'll break them anytime. And I want everyone to just have the most fun.
Skewing chaotic good.
Yes. There's a big debate in my friend group about what
Really?
my alignment is, because I believe it's true neutral, because I do love rules,
Right.
but also I don't sometimes. One of my friends thinks that's chaotic good. So
No,
I think the consensus is chaotic good.
Okay.
I'll take it. Could be
I,
worse.
I don't know you that well, Danielle, so I'm just throwing that out.
For
out there.
branding purposes, I'm chaotic good.
Or chaotic neutral,
Maybe,
maybe.
but that we keep that one under wraps.
But so let's kind of continue with the nonsense. So you don't care for rules.
I don't.
What about like story structure?
Story structure. I'm an improv kid, so
Yeah, you said you're a theater kid.
yeah, I'm a theater kid. I'm an improv kid, so I love coming up with things in the moment. And I will not lie to you. Sometimes I don't know the answer to a problem that I'm giving my players. I just kind of wait for them to come up with a really cool idea.
And then you respond to that.
Yeah, and they're like, "You wrote this?" And I'm like, "We wrote this. We wrote this together," because it's all about the story, I
Right.
think, and enjoying and like learning through trials. So I like to put a bunch of big challenges out there. I had one game last year where there was a floating city where the officials of that city really wanted to keep the magic all for elves. Oh, elves were the only ones allowed to cast magic. And one of my students went, "Doopy, that sounds a lot like fascism." And I was like, it does sound a lot like fascism. Good get, kiddo. It's almost like
We only allow one idea around here. That's
Okay.
how it works.
Exactly. So my big thing is like teach kids real life problems and ways to like face them through a fantasy lens and in a safe way where they can take a lot of big risks and then figure out, what consequences might be in the world, but also in our world.
And it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different approach to things, different way to. The correct answer doesn't have to be everyone's answer. There
Yes,
could be multiple answers to the same question.
absolutely. Yeah. You gotta
So,
have-
as a parent, I mean, I can see why kids would be drawn to this.
Sure.
Teens would be drawn to this. Some teenagers don't like being called a kid.
They're full adults.
What are the parents looking to achieve?
I think the parents are looking to achieve this social structure. I think a lot of hobbies, games nowadays are built for isolation. And so having a game where it is, you can't do this on your own. You can't fight a dragon all by yourself.
Right.
They've tried. Don't get me wrong, they have tried, but you just can't. You need an adventuring party. You need people who have different strengths than you. You're not going to have all of those strengths. And I think these kids sit and they play video games and they are like the chosen one or the all powerful one every time. And I'm like, well, sometimes you got to heal your friends.
Right.
Sometimes you're not the main character of this story and you're like out here helping and supporting your friends. And so I think it's that sense of like community and out here trying to enforce. And I think that's what parents are looking for.
It would also sound to me, you're also trying to point out that it's okay to rely on others to succeed. It doesn't always have to be on your shoulder.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is a big thing in this world. We're taught to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. And that only gets us so far.
Right.
Everyone who's made any success in anything has worked with a whole bunch of other people.
Of course.
And I think that's really what I'm trying to like instill in these kids.
Now, let's say somebody's interested in joining one of your groups. How would they go about it, Danielle?
You can find, it's like D&D experiences at wix.com. Find me on Instagram at D&D experiences. I think that's the whole thing. Or shoot me an email, doobieadventures42@gmail.com, and I will respond to you and get you into a group. We got to play more D&D. Everyone's got to play D&D.
That's the new tagline for Wizards of the Coast for 2026. We got to play more D&D.
We have to play more D&D. But don't watch my YouTube channel where
Yeah,
I
but-
consistently say I'm not Wizards of the Coast.
Wow. Here's my disclaimer, everybody. Got two last questions.
All
They're
right.
questions I like to ask all of my guests.
Hit me.
First of all, Danielle, how did you get gaming?
I started watching Dimension 20 during the pandemic. And I didn't want to because I had made fun of Dungeons and Dragons my whole life. And I was really stubborn about it. And then I watched an episode and I was like, oh, this is very good. This is very funny. This is very silly. And I want to do it all the time. And then I started just playing with my friends, playing with my students, and we've snowballed all the way over here.
Nice. Final question then. Obviously, you run and play Dungeons and Dragons. Is there any other game out there that you really love playing?
I love playing Magic the Gathering, but not Commander. Not Commander.
Did you get that look? I'm next to Danielle, and I got that. I saw that look.
Not Commander.
Uh-uh.
But I do love Magic the Gathering.
We got involved with Magic the Gathering, like, I think they were just past beta, or maybe they were still in beta. That's how old we are. And I tell people all the time, people can knock Magic the Gathering all they want. That game holds up.
Yes, it does.
It is just as fun playing that game. Well, as long as you're not playing against like a 10-year-old who wipes the floor with you. But it is just as fun now as it always was.
I think there's so many different story structures to the decks that you can create. There's mechanics for people who love mechanics. There's art for people who love art. I love it. I think it's great.
Any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience, Danielle?
Play Dungeons and Dragons.
We need to
Collaborate with your
Play
community.
more Dungeons and Dragons.
Build your community. Have fun. Nothing has to be serious all the time.
All of a sudden, this Wizards of the Coast trademark.
Could you imagine? Wizards of the Coast, sponsor me.
I was going to say, at least you're not getting it like a cease and desist, so that's good.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Danielle, thank you very much
Thank
for
you so
taking
much.
some time out. I know you're busy here at the show, so have a good time here at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. See you tomorrow, folks.